Talk Live, brought to you by Fit Aid with Dalton Johnson and Kerith, Burke. Dalton, we were here less than 24 hours ago. That game was a loss against Minnesota. This game was a loss against the Nuggets, the #1 team in the West, by the way. The Warriors shorthanded for this one. I feel like we're just talking about two different losses. I don't feel as, disappointed after this one. The sense of deja vu wasn't there because we did see the Warriors at least compete for the first half in this game in the Mile High City.
Yeah, I would say that our buzzword after yesterday's loss was compete, because we figured that there was going to be a lot of young players, role players, having bigger chances to prove themselves tonight. And a lot of them did, and they competed right from the start. It was like, okay, this is going to be one of those kind of games for the Warriors. We're shorthanded, this kind of, hey, you have nothing to lose. Go out there and play. Second night of a back-to-back. I think they wanted to kind of prove themselves.
Yeah.
That third quarter kind of crumbled away. But the competitiveness was there from the start. It trailed off in the third quarter. It was up and down in the fourth, but overall, a much different loss than last night, as you said.
Yeah, 8 turnovers in that third quarter alone. The Nuggets went on a 16-0 run. It was punctuated by, I think, 4 or 5 turnovers within that run. So that was the moment where the game unraveled. The Nuggets outscoring the Warriors 35-22 in that one. So I mentioned they were shorthanded. Second night of a back-to-back. Klay Thompson doesn't play in these games. Both Steph and Draymond warmed up. But Draymond was a late scratch. He's got a right calf injury. We are going to talk about that. But this kind of opened up some things in the front court. I want to talk about Kuminga, Wiseman, JaMychal. Should we start with Kuminga?
Let's start with Kuminga.
Okay, what did you think? Let's start with his start, actually. In the first quarter, he even looked, very locked in.
Yeah, I thought it was a very good Jonathan Kuminga game. Don't stare at the plus-minus. I think it ended up being a -23, a -21.
It was, but that doesn't feel indicative of his game.
It does not tell the whole story. And I was talking about this in the post-game show with the guys. As far as plus-minus, it needs to have a balance. You need to be able to watch the games and look at the numbers at the same time. If you just stare at the box score after a loss, you go -23, what did he do? No. He did a lot of good things. Number one, this is the second night of a back-to-back in the Mile High City going against the best team in the West and a 2-time MVP. So already the cards are stacked against a 20-year-old Jonathan Kuminga. But in that first quarter, 4 for 4 from the field. I believe he had 12 points in that first quarter, 10 or 12. But it was the way he got them. He's efficient. And that is the word that I have for Kuminga right now. Another 7 for 9 efficient. And he went after Jokic in that first quarter.
Yeah, he did.
Seeing, okay, let me read you, use my speed and athleticism and get past you. So another encouraging game from Jonathan Kuminga.
Yeah, immediately when you look at the plus-minus, my eye then goes to how he shot from the field. 7 of 9, okay? 17 points, 7 rebounds. So this is a totally fine Jonathan Kuminga game. He actually played all of the first quarter, kind of got himself cooking, right? I think he started this game 6 of 6, 2 for 2. So he also had that 3-point shot working. I like watching him attack because he's not scared of anybody. He is not afraid to go downhill on an MVP or try these little athletic post moves. I think his team loves it as well. Look at him go right there to the rim. Little stare down on who that was as well. This corner 3 shots, that is a very important part of his toolbox as well.
It's huge, and it's just that it's so smooth right now. There's no herky-jerkiness to it. There's no hesitation to it. And that's what I like to see, too, is that he's not getting the ball in the corner and going, where do I go now? He's seeing, I have this kind of space. I need to be able to knock this down. Because now, if I have this space and I can knock it down, you get someone that's coming on top of Jonathan Kuminga. He has the quickness, the speed, the athleticism, the strength to get by you and attack the basket. So he's starting to become more and more of a pick your poison kind of option for the Warriors on offense. We've talked so much about his defense this season. And that, to me, is always going to be his bread and butter as far as his success in this league. What can take him from, hey, really, really good talent to a star to even higher and higher is that defense first. But the offense, the efficiency of it, the comfortability of it, that's what's really starting to jump out to me when it comes to Kuminga.
Yeah, as his minutes increased too, he had to do more in this game, of course, playing shorthanded, no turnovers. My eye is also scanning this turnover column. I'm looking at James Wiseman. 0 turnovers for James Wiseman. This game was an interesting one for Wiseman because he hadn't played in the new year. Can you sort of contextualize, Dalton, what Wiseman was stepping into tonight?
Yeah, you are stepping into, talk about a tough situation for someone who's a former #2 overall pick. We already talked about how much pressure is on James Wiseman. And Steve Kerr said recently he took him to the side and had a little bit of a chat with him and said, it's kind of, hey, why is Moses Moody going to the G League, getting his reps in, and I'm here, and I'm getting DNP after DNP, and kind of keeping him settled that this could happen at any moment, that you can get your chance at any moment. Little did he know that his opportunity was going to be in Denver against Nikola Jokic.
Yeah.
But look, he went out there, he had a strong first stint. I think his first stint was, I believe he played 6 minutes, he was a +5 after that. And what I like to see too is on the bench right after that, Draymond Green was coaching him up, and he was intently like, okay, and you could even see him mouthing, I got you, I got you. And he was talking about putting his hands up, staying straight up because he had a tough foul on Jokic. That's going to happen to anybody, right?
Yes. I think we have video of that, by the way, Draymond coaching up Draymond coaching up Wiseman. For context, okay, he has not played since December 28th. He missed 15 consecutive games, and he was cleared for some of those recent games. There's Draymond with them, yes, offering them that support. Wiseman locked in. And it's just been a decision of the coaches like, okay, we can't put you in this game. So they toss him into his first game of the new year against the reigning MVP Nikola Jokic, a high-altitude game. It's sort of like they tapped him on the butt or like, go get him, Tiger! And you know what? He did all right. I thought he did pretty well in this game.
I think he definitely did. I think this was a positive game for James Wiseman. It doesn't mean that, hey, Saturday night, go out there and you're going to play 25 minutes by any means. But everything right now is meant to be a confidence booster for James Wiseman, right? And it's about the small wins with him. We talk about how much Steve Kerr talks about singles. Everything doesn't have to be a home run. This was a strong single for James Wiseman, where he can go out and be like, hey, I got up there, I got on the board, I got on base, and I can feel good about myself after this, right? And I like seeing the little things where Jordan Poole finds him on the run, him running the court, using his skill sets right now that can let him expand later on. Him catching the ball in traffic, finishing through in traffic, right? Little things like that. We know that has a good shot, made his free throws. I believe he made all 3 free throws tonight. And so that's going to help him get to the line, use that length, and it's just such a change up compared to what the Warriors usually are, that even if it's 5, 6, 7 minute spurts, it's going to make the defense have to do something different here and there, And if you can continue to learn from a Draymond Green, these other players, these other Kevon Looney's, about putting your hands up, playing strong, solid defense, it's going to incrementally get better for James Wiseman.
Yeah, James Wiseman checked into this game at a time where the Warriors' three-point shooting was hot. I think they had 13 in the first half. So a little bit was like, well, this team is going to have to look for James Wiseman if they want to get him involved. And then they started to do that. You mentioned that long outlet pass from Jordan Poole, found him for a dunk. He got to play around the rim, and I just keep thinking, this vertical threat has been missing for the Warriors. I want to see more James Wiseman in the situations where it made sense, and it did tonight with the Warriors shorthanded. Let's also keep it in the front court. You've got JaMychal Green. You reminded me of something for J-Mike, why this game might have been special for him.
Yeah, this was JaMychal Green's first game back in Denver, in a Warriors uniform. He battled against the Warriors many times in the past, whether it was with the Clippers, whether it was the Nuggets. So he was back in the Mile High City, this time with the Golden State Warriors, and he had a strong performance too. I like seeing numbers like 4 rebounds, 4 assists, and that's kind of the big man's role in this Warriors system, obviously, right, is that you have to be multifaceted. You have to have a smart IQ. That's why they brought in JaMychal Green. He's a veteran, he's proven, he's tough. He has that. He used the words when he was signed, I have that dog in me, right? And you saw it a few times tonight. I think he had a big alley-oop, things like that. So it was a strong return to Denver for JaMychal Green. This one had to have meant something a little bit sentimental for him. Obviously, he's a veteran in the league, but a nice return to Denver for JaMychal Green.
Jordan Poole on the other side, the assist man on both the dunk for Wiseman and the dunk for JaMychal Green. Hey, speaking of while we're in the Nuggets arena, we heard something. We think they're fans of Dubs Talk Live. Can you take a listen to this and see if you hear the same thing that we did? Our director who noticed that really made me crack up. All right, so a lot of opportunities for guys in the front court. Draymond Green was supposed to play in this game. He was listed as questionable. Steve Kerr said, I expect him to play. Then he warmed up and he couldn't go. So the Warriors are saying he's a late scratch with right calf soreness. What did you think when you heard this news?
I was a little bit worried, honestly, because last season when he had that calf injury, that led to the back injury where he was out for 2 months. Now, I want to kind of balance that out. He was questionable with a right foot injury. He winds up having a right calf soreness. We just saw a video of him on the bench talking with James Wiseman, you know, showing that he was interested in everything, that he was in the game. It's not like he had to go back to the locker room and stay in there. So that makes me feel a little bit better about it. You know, if it was more of a bigger worry and maybe this is shooting him to my back again, I would not expect Draymond Green to even be on the bench at that point. So it's tough to see him in street clothes. It's tough with last night's loss, feeling like, man, you want to go out and have these guys, you know, really preserve and get after and get this kind of win. So tough for the Warriors, tough for Draymond Green. Err on the side of caution. Hope that he can play Saturday. But right now, it's very kind of teetering right now. Okay, what's going to happen next when it comes to Draymond?
Yeah, Steve Kerr said post-game he doesn't think it's anything major, but the Warriors don't have all the information yet. They're going to test him tomorrow when he gets back home. So fingers crossed this isn't anything big for Draymond Green, but thank you for reminding us of what the situation was last season. All right, Steph Curry did play in this game. He was questionable. We were wondering if he was going to play. We'll talk about his game and actually whether he should have played. Some fans weighed in. We got to bring your comments to you in just a moment.
Dubs Talk Live is presented by FitAid Clean Energy and Sports Recovery, the energy drink for athletes. FitAid Energy is naturally sweetened with only 15 calories, no sucralose, no aspartame, and no compromises.
Ooh. We've got some harsh comments in here. Otis, it is cool that they played our theme in Denver. That's right. I mean, Val is saying the front office must do something or else the Warriors won't make it to playoffs. I think that's a concern for a lot of people. Somebody is saying the upside tonight is your jacket. They're happy that they tuned in. I like a jacket too.
Thank you.
That's right. That's right. LM says, is it the Dubs Talk theme? Is it original or is it taken from something else? There is, how do I explain this? Like a catalog of music that organizations can use. It's non-licensed, so they don't have to pay a fee. It's like specifically, I'm struggling tonight, specifically designed for television use in this way, for how often we use it. So I think they were just thumbing through that same catalog and hit the play button on.
Personally, I think they were on YouTube and they were like, this sounds pretty good. I like Kerith and Dalton. I want to play this in Ball Arena in Denver.
That's right. Just a little slice of home for everybody. Yeah. William says, little bit of panic, but I still believe in the team. I like that spirit. That's good. I mean, Steph was talking about optimism post-game. He said it's mostly optimistic. Guys, I just think they sense that the clock is ticking here. They're 26-26. They're back at 500. They have 30 games left. So I need to refresh the standings. They will likely be a playoff team, but they can make it a lot easier for themselves if they're not a play-in team. So I think that's what they're working their way against right now.
That's a good way to say it, because again, it just, the margin of error, and that's what Steve Kerr said. We don't have the same kind of margin of error that we had in the past. You don't have a big margin of error in the play-in tournament. You have way more in a series. Give them a series.
Yeah. Welcome back to Dubs Talk Live, brought to you by FitAid. We know Steph Curry is the only Warriors All-Star this season. Of course, he's very deserving. I know the Warriors were hoping that maybe they could have Klay Thompson in there. Maybe Wiggins could follow up on his All-Star season last year. Maybe Draymond, maybe Poole. How about Iron Man Loon? I mean, they really kind of had a campaign to see if they could get some votes for those guys, but the results came out, and it's only going to be Steph Curry. Okay. That makes sense to me.
It does make sense. Yeah. I mean, look, they're up and down in the standings.
Yeah.
It's not like they're dominating like they were last season. And those other guys, you know, Klay's had to miss second games of back-to-backs. Draymond's been Draymond many times this season, but there is just a lot of talent in the league this season.
Yeah.
You know, there's some big-time names that people can, yell on the internet about being snubbed.
Snubbed.
Snub.
Yes.
No, it's okay.
Yes.
It happens. There's only 12 All-Stars. That is a small group to try to pick from.
Yeah.
So it's tough.
Yeah.
We're not used to it. I think it's only the second time in the last decade that the Warriors only had one All-Star. So
Yeah.
it's not what Warriors fans are used to, but it's just kind of the way the season has gone this time.
For my heart, I would like to see Klay Thompson be an All-Star again. I hope he gets that honor, and I know that's something that he wants. So Steph has had 8 consecutive games where he scored 25 or more points. He's been the leading scorer, in so many of these. It's kind of like, if Steph has a good game, the Warriors have a good game. This is not earth-shattering stuff, I'm telling you here. But we wanted to ask the question, and we know this is an easier question to ask now that we know the outcome of this game. It was a loss for the Warriors. But Dalton, should Steph have played in this game? He was on the injury report. He was on the injury report as questionable with a sore shoulder. When there's no Klay, when there's no Draymond, who ended up being a late scratch, you're like, I don't know. What do you think about whether Steph should have played in this one?
I think it's hard to kind of fully answer it with just a yes or just a no.
I agree.
And here's where I would lean with. I believe, if my math is correct, that he's played in 7 back-to-backs this season now. As far as playing both games back-to-backs, I think it's his second time since coming back from injury, right? And it didn't really truly surprise me. I thought after last night, when he played 43 minutes, that he'd probably lose that argument. But hearing Steve Kerr say that he spoke with Rick Celebrini this morning about it, I really feel like Steph was pushing to play tonight. And that's where I can't really say yes or no. I lean towards yes because I want that athlete to have that competitor to have that. And I even said last night, I want to see Steph play tonight because I expected him to kind of give everything. He knew what this game meant as far as ending a road trip. So I lean more towards yes. It's just such a different world that we live in now as far as, Steve Kerr's talked about it as far as the medical staffs when he played, the training staffs when he played. It
One guy, maybe 2.
Yeah, hey, we have a doctor, we have a trainer.
Sure.
Now we have
That's right.
someone looking at your heart rate, your breathing, this,
The
that,
analytics
your
team,
sleep, everything, right?
Yeah.
So it's broke down so specifically now that you never know if someone's going to play both days. So again, my answer is probably going to lean more towards yes, because I truly want the athlete to still have some ownage there and say, hey, I'm going to be the competitor tonight. We need this type of win. So that's my answer of an answer.
So, no, I get you. No, Steph wants to play. He wants to win. Now, Steph isn't the final decision maker, as you mentioned. All of this, and we're having this conversation for the sake of conversation. The answer here is, what does the health data say? Because as Steve Kerr has reminded us, it does not matter what the standings indicate whether a guy plays or not. That's not fair to the player. It's whether his body is physically ready. But as we talk about this with fans, as I pose this question on Twitter, fans do mention some stuff like when the team is at a 500 level and they need to stack wins, it's essential that Steph is on the floor. Warriors Reddit says, it's Celebrity we trust. That's the team doctor. Yes, you got to trust the science. You got Michael saying, never in a road back-to-back unless they're on the cusp of missing the playoffs. So you do see the way that fans and people looking in on this team are like, we need Steph. We really need Steph if they're going to start winning this. Shy Girl says no choice because they lost yesterday. So it's like Steph had to play today to give the team a chance to win. There's a lot of fans who are split on this, actually. Rick is saying yes, because they need to try to turn this thing around. And you can make, the argument that, of course, Klay would love to play in back-to-backs. Of course, Draymond would love to play in back-to-backs. But sometimes you have to save the player from himself, right? I don't necessarily want to see Klay Thompson playing in back-to-backs considering the leg injuries he had. So it's a lot easier to understand, well, Klay shouldn't because he needs to be preserved, but what about Steph? It's like, well, what if the rules are the same for everybody all the time, that health makes the decision? It's
a good way to say as far as what you said, like the player can't have like the final say because you have to kind of save from the player too.
Yeah.
I'm a former D2 college athlete, and but what I mean by that is that, look, I played through injury.
Yes.
We're looking back now, it's like, wow, that's kind of wild now. And you think about being on the stage of an NBA superstar and having millions watch you and millions want to have you play every single night and have kids and families pay for tickets. That's a whole other stratosphere of pressure, right?
Yeah.
So you do have to save the athlete from the athlete at times.
Yeah.
That's a good way to say it. And that's why it's such a collective answer. You know, and it's not a yes or no always by any means. It takes a team. I want athletes to still have that ownage, but it's a very good way to say that you have to save them from themselves as well at times.
Okay, can you give us a rundown of some of your injuries? It was baseball, right?
Yes.
What did you deal with?
Well, I had 2 dislocated shoulders. One was in high school football that then popped back back in college, diving for a ball.
Dalton.
A pulled hamstring, robbing a home run. In a walking boot for a month with an ankle. My senior year, I was basically a walking mummy, but hey, I still kept playing.
Okay, ice packs, all that. That's what I was going to say. Did you still want to be on the diamonds?
Oh, 1,000%. I remember after my junior year, that's when I dislocated the shoulder, and I came back home after, and my chiropractor was like, your shoulder is not all the way in.
Yeah.
And it was because, hey, I don't want to lose my spot. I don't want to lose my scholarship.
Right.
All of the things. I was a kid from California out in Savannah, Georgia, trying to feel like you have to prove yourself every single day, right? And that's D2 baseball. This is not the NBA.
Sure.
You know, this is not even playing for USC or Oregon or Alabama for college football. Think about something like that.
Yeah.
We have to remember that when it comes to the athletes, when it comes to the product, when it comes to the pressure, all of that, right? There's a lot that goes in on this. Athletes are going to want to play every single day.
Yeah.
So do not try to question the toughness.
Yeah.
You know, just recently, a different sport, we had people questioning someone like Brock Purdy.
Yeah.
Right? Like,
he should have done anything he could to help his team win. And he went back in and threw the football.
Exactly, right? So, and we don't know in the moment what someone's going through. So. It's a complicated answer. It very much is. It's a player-by-player, athlete-by-athlete answer.
Yeah.
You know, and a medical staff-by-medical staff answer as well at times too, right? So I don't think that this question is going to go away anytime soon.
Yeah.
We're going to continue to talk about it more and more, and it's going to be kind of a toss-up in the air, and we're going to learn more and more about it and have better answers as we continue the conversation.
All right, the psyche of an athlete, Dalton Johnson. Thank you very much. All right, when we come back, we'll look at the schedule, and Luka Doncic might have an injury. We got to tell you about this for the Warriors' next opponent. When Dubs Talk Live, brought to you by Fit Aid, returns.
Dubs Talk Live is presented by Fit Aid Clean Energy and Sports Recovery, the energy drink for athletes. Fit Aid Energy is naturally sweetened with only 15 calories, no sucralose, no aspartame, and no compromises.
I just didn't want
answer.
to
I like
make
that.
it seem like I was like oh,
No. You're like this. I played.
No, but I mean
Yeah.
like with my ankle, literally it was my senior year. It was the fall going, and we played in the spring, obviously. And I remember going into the doctor and was like, surgery, or we can basically into this.
Ooh, how many
And you
times?
can rehab, and it was because
Cortisone, like how many times?
I mean, just the one bad one, but
Yeah.
then because it was like a grade 4 sprain, literally it was like it's basically broken.
You should not be doing anything. No.
And they were like, yeah, like the top of your ankle has a fracture, and then the inside and the outside is all the ligaments are completely torn. And
You should not have been walking, and you're playing baseball.
Yeah, and I was in a boot for like 5 weeks, and then I was like, I need to get out of this.
Yeah. What position were you?
Center field. We literally had like our scout day.
You might have to run.
Yeah, and it was
Center
our
field.
scout day for like scouts, and I was like, I can
Yes.
hit, but I can't run yet. And they're like, you're not supposed to be hitting right now. And I'm like, okay.
But I have to,
But
but I
it's
want
just a
to.
weird world. It is.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think about it all the time as far as that
And no
goes.
offense, it's like 100 times more for Steph. It's like,
100, 1,000.
1,000 times. I mean, 1,000 times more. For Steph.
No.
It's like,
It truly is. I mean,
Man.
yeah, there's so much on the line with that.
Yeah.
You know, and he's questionable with left shoulder, and then we see him holding his legs tonight. You
Yes,
know? So
that
you
was
just
scary.
never know. It's
yeah,
tough.
Drew Yoder going over to him. I was watching Steph, and he was on the bench, so he was kind of sitting like this, and he was moving his legs, like he was really agitated, or like, doesn't hurt, it doesn't hurt, it doesn't
Right.
hurt, like he was trying to convince
It's almost like a
himself.
deflated feeling too, where it's
Absolutely.
like I can do it, I can do it, I need to do it.
Yeah.
And that's where you're not going to win that battle.
That's the sense of I need to do it that I'm sort of getting from Steph right now, but it's not always going to be his choice. All right, I have completely ignored YouTube. My apologies, guys. But yeah, we've got somebody saying, I broke my elbow, similar to Brock Purdy. Hurts like hell. You can't even straighten your arm out. We're back on Dubstock Live, brought to you by Fit Aid. I actually forget where we're starting, with the standings or with Luka. I guess I could just tell you that Luka and the Mavericks are the team that's coming to Chase Center next. Let's take a look at these standings because the Mavericks are ahead of the Warriors. Oh, schedule, okay. Schedule, sorry guys. Yeah, here's a look at the upcoming home games. 3 out of their next 4 are at home. I know we just saw OKC, so the tape should be fresh on that one. But okay, Luka Doncic. He hurt his right heel tonight. He's got a right heel concussion. Contusion. Contusion. Ooh, here's the awkward video. Oh, I don't like want to see that again. Ooh, his whole ankle too. Okay.
Scissor kick
So he left this game. We do not know his status for Saturday, but I hope he's okay. You always want to see the best players face the best players. So hope Draymond's okay. Hope Steph is okay. Hope Clay is okay. Can I just toss it to you for a second while I collect myself?
You sure can, but I do want to go off of that as far as you want to see the best. And this is what the Warriors want to do right now too, is the fact that they need to be able to see how do we look against the other team's best. You know, you're going into this All-Star break coming up soon, coming into the trade deadline, you don't want to know how you're doing against another team's second best, how you're doing against a Mavs team without Luka Doncic, because that's not the team that you would maybe face in the playoffs or down the stretch to get into the playoffs, right? You need to know, how do we face against the other team's very, very best? So I truly hope that Luka's healthy. I hope that Steph is, that Draymond is.
Everybody.
The best versus the best. That's what we always want to see. But that's what the Warriors also need to see right now.
Yeah. All right. I'm going on the injury report with Brain. So yeah. All right. Let's take a look at the standings right now. And we just got the word that the Clippers lost to the Bucks tonight. So maybe a little bit more shuffling coming. Lost tonight. Golden State drops to number 9, back at 500, 10 games back. I don't know. What did you think of this road trip at large?
That it should have and could have been much better.
Yeah.
And I think that's where they're probably flying home right now and saying, guys, that loss last night kind of tells us all about what this road trip was, and it didn't need to be that. A strong win against the Thunder. They competed tonight, was shorthanded, obviously, but that loss last night, I think, is the one that you go, man, like we could have, 2-1 compared to 1-2 is a big, big difference right now.
Yeah.
We were just seeing how the standings, I think every show that we have, the standings are going to go boop, 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 boop.
Oh, there's a yo-yo. Yeah,
yes.
from like 5 tonight,
it's
5 tonight.
Wild.
And I do believe the Warriors will be a playoff team, but they don't want to be a play-in team. They want to make it easier for themselves, and they haven't done that. You know, as Dalton mentioned, they lost to Minnesota. They gave up a 14-point lead late in the game. Yikes. All right, Warriors coming home, seeing if some of the magic of Chase Center can get them right. Thanks for watching Dubstock Live, brought to you by Fit Aid. My mom and dad are watching this show, and I expect to get text messages from them afterward. Like, what are you doing? I don't know. I just need to get myself together in this one. Right, Mom? Right, Mom? So yeah, thanks everybody for watching. I'm trying to see if there are any more comments that we should get to. Jay is kind of wondering, maybe Kerr doesn't want to change the system for a big man. It seems like people would love to see more Wiseman if the situation were right. But it's sort of like, well, what is that situation?
I think the tough thing is that, like, he does not have good numbers with Steph Curry too, and that's impossible
if you can't be on the floor then.
Right, and that's the whole point right now is that when anyone talks about these two timelines or all these things, this is a Steph Curry timeline as it should be. That's what the message should be to everyone right now, especially going to the trade deadline. This is Steph Curry's timeline, and the rest of the big three and the big four and so on and so forth.
Yeah.
But if someone is not a fit next to Steph Curry and can't impact winning next to Steph Curry, he can't be on the court right now. You know, so then it's okay, is he a good fit next to Jordan Poole? There were flashes tonight.
Yeah.
You know, is he a good fit next
game?
to, next to Ty Jerome, who's a very smart veteran type of point guard? there were times, yes, where you could see Ty was seeing that James Wiseman sealing off a guy and has a mismatch there. Yes, but that is such a smaller and smaller and smaller sample size, you know. And again, maybe it works for 5 minutes, maybe it works for 4, 5, 6, who knows? But for extended periods, it's not there right now, you know. And I don't know if they have the confidence to think that it's going to be there in the near future.
Yeah. 30 games left for the Warriors. Thank you so much for watching Dubstock with Dalton. I'm Kerith. We'll see you next time.